Alright guys, so here goes. My name is Jeremy. I'm 43. The reason I'm making this video, I see a lot of videos, guys with Skylines, 240s, $50,000, $100,000 cars, building them all the time. Big expensive garages with lifts and things. Your average guy, realistically, that's not what's gonna happen unless you got a bunch of money to throw at these guys. You're gonna try to do it yourself, and what my videos will be geared toward is going to be maybe some cheap parts, maybe some used parts, maybe some traded parts that are kind of questionable if they will actually work. We're gonna go through some things. I've got some used parts that I've traded on. I buy, sell, trade. I've got, right now in my possession, I've got like 18 cars. I've got diesel trucks, I've got a rollback, Hondas, Chevrolet. I've got a 5.3 GMC Canyon 5.3 swap truck, which it's just the shell with the some accessories. So I've got a 5.3 I'm going to pull out. My experience is geared more toward the Honda stuff, so you're going to be learning along with me, and I do my research on some things, and seeing somebody else do it, and watching a video, that can give you guidance on where to start, and kind of the idea of it. Well, when you actually do it, it's a lot different. So it's hard to watch a video and be like, oh yeah, I can go put a cam in a 5.3, but they may be missing something, a simple step that you don't know. With that being said, I may miss some steps, and if you have any questions, you can always, I've got an email. It's chesserenterprises at yahoo.com. I'll try to put that link up for you. But I'm the kind of guy, message me on Facebook, whatever, I don't care. I'll talk to you. I'll help you all I can. And if I'm wrong, call me on it. I'm 43 years old and I like to learn. So like I say, this is stuff that my personal experience, my contribution to the car world. Because I've worked construction. I'm a pipe fitter by trade. I went to school for it. Then I got into the rental business, and I do that primarily. That's my source of income, and I owe a lot. If you want to get in the rental business, it's rough. It is rough. I don't make a lot, and you'll see that I can't afford to just throw money around. So I do salvage parts. I do trade and end up with, I've got aftermarket pistons and rods and some other things that are used that are kind of questionable, but we're going to carry them to the machine shop and let my machinist, give us a heads up or a thumbs down that was it a good trade, was it a bad trade. And now that, I'm getting a little older, a lot of things I can tell, if it's going to be a problem before I get it, or, if it's salvageable. I've got some injectors. My son, he's getting into cars, so he's got a SC300. I'm going to try to keep him from getting into it too much. He needs to drive. He's got to have something to drive back and forth. My advice to any kid, any young guy, do not build or try to work on the car you drive unless it is a necessity, unless you have to fix something. When you start playing and tearing up things, if you're a high school kid and your parents aren't going to buy you the parts, because when I was growing up, if I broke something, I paid for it. I didn't have a choice. I had to fix it. Nobody gave me the money. If you work somewhere and you just make minimal amount of money, which I'm not judging, kind of limited on your budget. So what I suggest, and this is what my son, I've talked him into doing, and I feel confident that it's a smart choice, is I've got a 99 EX Civic that's got a LS swap in it, a 1.8 Integra motor. I was in the car, ran, drove, and everything. I'm not guaranteeing that it's still a good car. It's been sitting for a while. Well, him and I worked out a deal on that. He's 16, so I'm glad he chose that route, because I don't want to get up and take him to school every day. I'm just saying. Alright, good kid, but I ain't getting up to take him to school every day when he's got a car. But you know, I'm gonna help him, and it's like I told him with his homework. I'm like, son, what I'm gonna tell you is just like your homework. I'll help you all I can, and if we can't figure it out, we'll call somebody. We'll email the teacher, call somebody. We'll research it. We'll find out. We'll work it out. But I'm not gonna do it for you. I'll help you to from dark to dark. If you're working on a car and I'm in a position to help you, I'll help you all I can. I will not do it for you. You're not going to learn if I do it for you. So where I'm at is going to be my personal experiences. Things you'll have different opinions of things. Some will work, some won't. Some won't work for you. You'll find your own niche. But what my video is going to be geared toward is it's okay to buy stuff off of eBay. If it works and it gives you success, it's okay. I mean, it just is. You know, metallurgically speaking, me being in the pipe trades, all right, you're talking turbo manifolds and intake manifolds and all that. You know, there may be some differences as far as flow and stuff, but some of that stuff you can, I mean, what, 2 horsepower on 20 pounds of boost? I mean, it's going to be all over the place anyway. You're not going to be able to drive it. It's going to be spinning and whatnot. You'll never know. Not having it, you'll never know the 2 horsepower. If you bumped it up 2, you might be like, oh, there's 2. You know, it's not really drastic. So I'm not against using some knockoff parts. Hey, I'll try anything. You know what I mean? When you own limited funds, what you can afford is what you can afford. So I'm not going to bash that at all. So you might see me use some stuff, but you know, like I say, metallurgically speaking, Schedule 40 pipe, like on a turbo manifold, it's Schedule 40 pipe. It doesn't, yeah, there's a generic version, a cheaper version. Everybody always talks about, oh, it's the Chinese piping or whatever, made in America piping. As far as turbo applications and stuff, it's still Schedule 40 pipe. What you're going to run into is quality of welds and maybe some obstruction from the inside that you may have to get a tool, a Dremel or some kind of end grinder, and get down in there and clean it up just a little bit. Maybe what you have to do. But I mean, you'll see as we go, there's certain things, like when you get in your, and I even see some of your high-end racers run these, like a 16 gauge stainless pipe. Alright, so what you're going to have problems with, if you make any kind of boost and there's any kind of heat, they will crack. I don't care. Stay away from the Schedule, you know, 16, or not the Schedule, but the 16 gauge. When your piping's listed as gauge and it's thin wall stuff, if you're running any kind of boost, or you plan on making any kind of boost, or you want it to last, any kind of longevity to it, you want to go to a Schedule. I mean, eBay, I've seen them. I bought one. I'll show you that one in the later video. Like $300. It's Schedule 40 stainless. Don't look too bad. I mean, I may cover the brand up and all that because I'm not sponsored by any of that type of stuff. But I do advise a lot of local kids on their builds. I get text messages, emails, Facebook, Instagram. They'll message me and ask my opinion on things, you know, and if it's something I don't know, I'll Google it right then and I'll help them. You know, I'll help them work out what they're trying to figure out. I don't have a problem with that, if I'm free enough to do that. I try to share, but when I was working pipe fitting, what I was saying there is I worked with some guys. It's like they were afraid you're going to take their job if they teach you, and that was a big deal to me. You know, how can I grow in the pipe trades and pipe fitting? How can I do my job if you guys act like it's a secret and you don't want me to know? Okay, so when I top out and I can't do my job, it's not my fault, because the old guys didn't want to share that knowledge, didn't pass it down. Alright, I'm 43 years old and I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I'm not the best. I no time claim to be the best, but I do know some things, and I've got a couple of friends that I deal with that are not quite as old as I am, but they've been doing it for a long time too. So feel free to ask, message, If you got a better way of doing something than I do, hey, send it to me. Tell me. Age doesn't matter, because you have some people that just naturally can work problem solving and work things out. I find a better means, a better way, easier way, faster, better quality, something. I'm down to learn anytime. But the purpose of my videos will be, for one, I'm going to show you some of the things that I know. If you can take it and run with it, hey, awesome, good. If it doesn't help you, I do apologize for wasting your time. And some of my videos will just be going through the stages of me learning things as well, because the 5.3 is completely a whole different animal. I've not had any experience on a 5.3 whatsoever, and I've ended up with a 5.3 truck, a 5.3 motor, and a couple of TH400s, which I have a 2J swap that I'm working on. That'll be new too. That's all new to me. When it comes to Hondas, LSs, and Integra stuff, GSR, B16 stuff, I got a lot more going there. I built some high horse Hondas. I don't tune. I'm not a welder, fabricator, and all that. I'm just an average guy that got into cars and been doing it for a long time and have some experience and contribution. I got rental houses. I buy and sell stuff. I flip cars. I bought out some stuff I sell on eBay, just some older, like, antique car stuff. I bought a pallet of tennis shoes, so I sell stuff on eBay. So you might ride along with me on selling some stuff, packing it, and taking it to the post office. So, everything you can for content. You know how that goes. But I'll try not to show Christmases and family stuff, and you know what I mean. This is going to be about cars, but this is my introductory, so this will be more geared toward kind of letting you know who I am and what we're doing here. But my house is a wreck. My yard's a wreck. I've got cars everywhere. I've got 18 or 19 cars, and like I say, I always test myself. So, I have cars I've never worked on, but I'm planning on building a motor. I'm going to do it. I figured it out. I like to learn. I like to take things apart, put things back together, and hopefully they're better than what they were before I took them apart. Change motors out. I've got a Mercury Mountaineer and a Ford Explorer, I think it is. Doing my research, see if they'll interchange. But I've got a 92 hatch SI. That's my personal car, and I've got a 90. Well, my son's got a 99 SC300, and mine's a 92, 93, I think. I've not dealt with it much. I hadn't really started on it. I've been fooling with the motor. And, yeah, that's introductory. There's more information. It's just rattling through my brain, and I want to tell you all kinds of stuff, but I can always bring that up later. Just realistically, man, I'm a realist. I'm not going to do politics. I'm not going to do personal stuff. I try to keep that, at a minimum, because I watch videos and stuff on YouTube and whatnot. Next thing you know, I'm at a Christmas party, and I'm like, where's the car builds? Where's the car stuff? I don't want to see about your grandkids' birthdays and stuff. If you want to see all that, you're invited. Come on down. But yeah, I'll try to keep it geared toward the actual car stuff. Yeah. I mean, if you have any questions, any kind of thing you want to talk about, one of my first videos that I'm going to start trying to work on, which I'm going to try to start on pretty soon, is use parts. Is it okay to use parts in a motor that dropped a valve? I've got some pistons to show that where a valve dropped, or it had some trash in the piston, it's got some damage on it. I've actually got them right here. We'll get into that later. We'll go to a two-part video or whatever, maybe. And something that me personally I want to show is I've got like some scat rods and some skunk 2 rods, and I also have, maybe they're Brian Crowers, I can't remember, but I have 2 or 3 sets of rods, and they look the same. I mean, they look the same. So in comparison, visually and again metallurgically speaking, are they the same? Am I paying $400 for a set of skunk tubes when a set of scats are the same thing for $250 or whatever the price is? And I'm gonna get a little more into that, and I'm gonna name drop because I mean we're paying a lot of money for these parts. I want to know if I'm getting what I'm paying for. We literally, I used to see, I own a shop. I've owned retail shops. I've sold parts across the counter. In the import market, I've sold parts that I personally didn't even know what they were, because I bought out some a garage's older parts, an old parts store. I bought out some of their stuff. I hustle 7 days a week. I buy, sell, trade. I've been self-employed for 10 years or 12 or something, and I have to find the money every month to pay my bills. So again, I'm limited on what I can throw at cars. So you know, that's my situation. Your situation may be the income. You maybe just don't. You're a younger kid and you still got school and stuff, but you want to do some things. My advice, first of all, don't work on the car you're on. I done told you that. That's crazy. So put some money aside. What my son was doing, putting. He makes a couple $100 a week, and all he's buying is gas, and he eats at home and stuff, so he don't have to buy any groceries or anything. He puts back $100 a week or so, and we worked out a deal on that Civic, and you know, he continued to put that $100 a week or whatever back. Before you know it, he's got pistons and rods, and I've got several blocks laying around that we can match up, and we can start building my motor. You know, there is some parts, you'll see, there is some parts that are worth the money. You know, the eBay blow-off valves and stuff, stay away from it. Just don't. Oil feed lines and stuff, there might be some of the companies that work. I've not had any luck with the cheaper stuff as far as oil feed lines and turbo lines and stuff. There's some things you don't want to cheat on. There's just some things you don't want to cheat. That, like your blow-off valve, wastegate, some of the stuff there. You can get knock sensors, map sensors, stuff like that off eBay. Usually you don't run into too many problems unless you're really throwing the boost to something. You don't want anything to wreak havoc or to wreck the engine that you've spent your money on. Why build something and set it up for failure? Spend a little extra, take a little more time. We'll go through all this stuff once we get there. My mind's full of information that I want to share with you guys. But again, this is just my introductory. My name's Jeremy. You guys can email me. I mentioned it there, and I'll try to put that in the link. I've got to figure out some of this editing stuff. Yeah, guys, email me, message me. I'm gonna start with some used parts and some do's and don'ts, and you know, maybe some trade advice. You know, if you've got something somebody wants, what is your part worth? You know, you gotta really look at the market. The market's a lot different than it was when I got into this. You know, you couldn't find anything, for one. There wasn't as many options. eBay had just got started. I mean, there wasn't eBay when I was doing this, and it like literally was just starting. But it originally was like me selling a part that was used part, or one of you guys selling a used part, just almost like the Facebook Marketplace stuff. Now it's commercialized, it's big business, you know, so it's a lot different than it was. Marketplace is a good place to get some used stuff, and just being in the cars and kind of dropping it that you're looking for something, because there's usually a guy in a group of car guys that for some reason always remembers who has what, and he'll be like, hey, so and so has this, you know, call that guy, be like, hey man, I'm looking for this. He might hook you up. But there's always people looking for parts. Don't sit on a bunch of parts you don't need unless you're as bad as I am about it. I've got parts for stuff that I'll never work on, but I don't want to sell it either. But either way, alright, well, this is my introductory video. I'm here for advice. Pick my brain if you want to. I'll try to share everything I can share. I'm looking at buying a better camera and some other things, and I'm sorry I'm making such a long video. I've just got so much just overflowing I want to tell you, and I try to be descriptive, and I'll try my best to not just fill it full of chatter. I'll try to give you content that's gonna help you. You know, this will probably for the most part be the only chattersome video without something involved, either showing you some parts or unboxing some new parts. I I do have some new 2J parts. I've got intake manifold, throttle body from a company that I took a gamble on it, and it actually looks really, really nice. I did buy a turbo manifold off eBay. It's a Schedule 40 stainless. Not too bad. I mean, if worst case, man, maybe wash over the welds, and all that means is just make another pass, just weld right over one, you know, kind of just maybe not even add any filler metal, maybe just clean up the weld on a spot. But it's not bad. I mean, overall it's not bad for the money. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. And again, I'm a realist. If the part doesn't work, doesn't fit, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell on the manufacturer. I'm gonna tell, because I don't want to buy something that don't work. You know, I don't want to spend my money on a part that I can't use, or I have to, by the time I pay to fix it or spend the time to fix it, I have to work on it, and I could have just bought the name brand. You know, I want somebody else to dodge that bullet, you know. So I will put the names out there and be like, hey man, don't buy this stuff. Or, you know, in my personal opinion, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm going to say, in my personal opinion, would I buy this part again? I'm going to tell you no. If I wouldn't, you know, this is all, everything I say and do is going to be my personal opinion. I'm not telling you how to do things or a certain way. These are how I do things, and my opinions of everything that I do. But again, I'll try to be as informative as I can, as descriptive as I can. And we're going to learn some stuff about some cars. I even go in depth and try to go back to the basics, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel like they're just not intelligent. I try to help someone who just doesn't know where to start. You know, I've got a 16-year-old son, and the way we're going to do this, as if my 16-year-old son's never worked on a car. He's just now getting that bug, you know. I was hoping he would, and I wasn't pushing him and pressuring him because he was into sports and stuff. And he's getting it now. He's feeling it. So I'm going to let him do his thing with it. But again, I'm not trying to dumb it down, as people would say. I'm trying to treat you as if, you know, as I would my 16-year-old son that has no experience. I'm going to try to make it educational from an inexperienced level, from someone that has never ever done this. And they, you know, my son gets frustrated because I expect him to know things, but sometimes I have to think back, he doesn't have a clue. So just handling the tools and knowing where to start is a big part of it. And see what I had, I'm a big guy. I'm, you know, 6'2", 270 some odd pounds. Well, when I first got into it, I had a problem over tightening bolts. I always felt like that's not tight enough, and I'd always screw stuff up. I'd always strip something, break something, and it was the worst experiences. So I learned how to do some repairs on some bolt work, but it took me a minute. And if you're like I am, or if you're a perfectionist and you just have to know that it's right, and even to the smallest bolts, you want to know 100% that it's correct, use a torque wrench. Always use a torque wrench. If you're uncomfortable, or if you got a bad habit like me, over tightening things, when it gets tight, then all of a sudden it gets loose again, you're in trouble. I've experienced that a few times. So I may use a torque wrench in some of my videos when it doesn't call for one, just because I feel like it should be a little tighter, and then I pay for it. So I got a bad habit of that. But there's ways around, man. There's ways to figure out what works for you. And like I say, if you're like I am and you don't know how tight, sometimes too tight is too tight, break the torque wrench out. It's just another tool. It's nothing else. It's nothing big. It's nothing major. It's just a tool that tells you that's exactly how tight it needs to be. It's that simple. And we can, you know, break it down to how to use a torque wrench. I'm not afraid of doing that. See, my son does not know how to use a torque wrench. See, that may be something we work on. And again, I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but I am trying to help that kid that doesn't have anybody to show him how And so we'll break it down. We'll break it down to how to use certain tools. And again, these are my opinions. If you got a better way, hey, please advise me. You know, I'm down to learn myself, you know. So yeah, we're gonna stop it right there. Thank you guys for listening to my video. I hope you guys stick with me. I hope you guys enjoy some of the content. And if you're the guy watching videos and you just watching videos, you know, if you feel compelled to message me, or if I miss something, or if I'm wrong, or if you just have something you want me to do a video on, if it's you know, changing a fuel pump in a Civic, changing a fuel pump in a Chevy truck, you know, anything, pulling a motor, where do you start? There's some parts, when I put a Civic swap in, there's some parts I don't put back. There's things that I leave out because the next time you pull that motor, it makes it easier on pulling it out. There's items that you may or may not need on a build. You know, for example, if you're building a Honda motor, you don't need, if you're not going above 500 horse, there's some factory parts that you can hang on to. You don't have to buy certain things. Now you can upgrade them as time comes, but to get that 500 horse motor together and get it set up, you can use the factory fuel rail, factory distributor, factory intake. You don't have to buy that stuff out the gate. Now you'll have to have aftermarket injectors, obviously. You'll have to have those. But there's things that, you know, so you could set up a 500 horse motor, get it running driving, and if you want to upgrade those parts, by all means do so, but you don't have to have them to get that motor together, to get it in that car. Certain things, man, there's just certain things that that you can get later, that you can set the car up running driving. You can always change the manifold, you can always change the fuel rail. That car will run and drive. You can get that car tuned with those factory components, the intake manifold, the distributor, and the fuel rail. Get it tuned, get it set up, and then if you get the money later, buy an intake manifold, change it out. You may have to adapt a little bit on your throttle body if you get a bigger throttle body. There's a lot of things that you can get away with, and if you're on a budget, you can still build a car. So I'll work with you on that, and if there's anything you want to see, give me a shout. Thank you for watching my video. Sorry it rambled on and ran on. Maybe we'll get through this together and we'll learn something. Alright, thank you guys.